guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you stopped by today because today we can finally do another oil painting time lapse. I have just been super occupied with my art dolls lately and I kind of had to put oil painting off to the side for over a year, and I've been really trying to get back into it, so I finally finished the pieces that I started a year ago. So this is going to be one of them, and this is today's time lapse. I'm going to show it off to you guys. So this is called Little Dragon. I thought it'd be something just cute and simple and a little whimsical that I could try and do. Anyways, let's get started on that time lapse so you can see how I did that. Okay guys, so the beginning of this time lapse is going to be in a different setting than later on, and that's because I started doing this painting actually over a year ago. I did this painting and I started probably 2 or 3 other paintings and then stopped touching them for over a year. So this was back when I didn't have my lighting system for recording that I do now, so I was in the dining room for a small portion of this, mainly painting the background because the natural lighting there was a lot better than the lighting in the kitchen, which is where my studio is. If you guys didn't see my studio tour / decorating video, I have a little corner in my kitchen and I've turned that into my workspace. And then it overflows into the kitchen whenever I need extra space. So I apologize for the change in footage, but I really wanted to show the whole thing, and I'm going to end up having to deal with this when I do my next time lapse because I did that painting the same way as well. So this piece is supposed to be kind of more of a whimsical, more magical type painting. I wanted it to bring back memories of when I was younger and believed in different things like that when you're small and everything is just magical. And I used to be a major bug hunter and I would collect them. Most of the time I would collect and keep the grasshoppers and just have them as pets, but things like this I would kind of catch and then release because there was no way of me feeding them. So I would catch bugs all the time. And I always thought dragonflies were extremely beautiful, kind of mystical because they were so extremely hard to catch, and I always wondered what if they were actual dragons. So for this piece I will end up having him just breathing a little bit of fire, which we'll get to closer to the end. So because I want this to be more of a magical piece, I decided to go with a lot more vibrant colors. I'm going to do my best to make the hand look as realistic as I can, but hands are extremely hard to paint. This is probably my second attempt at painting a hand. I'll have to find pictures or maybe post a photo of my last painting I did like probably over 10 years ago, which had hands in it, and you could probably see the quality in me trying to get more detail into the piece. One thing that's kind of funny and sad is I really liked how I did the thumb, and at first I didn't think I'd actually end up covering it up, but later on it doesn't really end up showing in the finished piece, so I was kind of sad about that, but hey, I at least know that I did that well to begin with, and it is in the footage so you guys can see my thumb on my hand looked really cool. I was just really proud with the lighting effect that I did with it. So because my idea for this piece is something a little bit more whimsical and magical, I went with a lot brighter palette than natural colors, so I used a lot more brighter greens, and then for the dragonfly I wanted to have those blues just kind of really pop. Now with the dragonfly, I am going to point this out. I pointed this out in a vlog because I noticed it and I just thought it was funny, but I figured I pointed out here as well. I actually forgot to draw and paint 2 of the legs. So dragonflies do have 6 legs, and I should have known this, but for some reason I just completely forgot about them. And I did point out in the vlog that I did this, but I didn't correct it because after I finished the piece I realized you really wouldn't even notice those missing legs because of the placement of the fire and the placement of the wings. So I didn't correct this, but hopefully it doesn't look too odd. I feel like it looks okay to me. Plus, by the time I noticed it, I didn't want to have to try and color match the colors that I used for the legs, or have to repaint all of the legs so that they matched. I thought it would just be a lot easier since they aren't really visible to not add them. Anyways, I really thought the body of the dragonfly was going to be a bit more difficult than it was. I mean, obviously I did have trouble with it if I forgot a pair of legs, but the first go around on the body and all the markings and stuff, I was extremely happy with how it came out, so I really didn't touch it much afterwards. I think I added a few highlights here and there and I went back to it a tiny bit, but other than that, I was extremely happy with how it came out. Now, I did spend actually a lot of time on the eyes, mainly because I wanted them to pop. I wanted them to really show up in the painting, and it's kind of difficult because they're basically the same color as everything around them because they're reflecting the background and the color of the dragonfly itself. So it does kind of blend in a little bit, but I did my best to try and make it show up as best I could. So after I did the dragonfly and I went back to the hand, I did have a little bit of trouble with it because once I started adding the little wrinkles and fingernails and stuff, it started looking creepy to me. So I kind of wanted to go super detailed, but then I had to kind of like pull myself back because it was like, it doesn't look right. And so again, I wanted to have the hand as detailed as I could, but I don't think I'm ready to have that much detail without it looking like a creepy hand. So I mainly just kind of messed around with the shadows and highlights and just trying to figure out where the light is going to hit the hand. Another thing that I ended up changing was the background. The first go of it I really liked. I liked the layout of everything, but it was translucent enough to where I needed to go over it again. But between then and when I needed to do the second coating, I had picked up a different color of green, so I tried that out, and it was a lot more rich and colorful, so I ended up changing the background quite a bit by using different tones. So I went a lot more green. When I was originally thinking of the background, I wanted a lot more of the yellows to show through, but I ended up getting a really pretty green at the end. Now, one thing that I noticed that I didn't really notice right away was this painting, along with all the other paintings that I tried to start around the same time, have a lot of green in them. I did this one around when I did my fox painting. I showed that off in a vlog, and then my next one is going to be a Carno, and there's a lot of green around that, and I think there's one more else, but I'm kind of pulling a blank. But because of this, I kind of wore myself out on the green. I mean, I'm extremely happy with how it looks and everything, but I need to probably pull myself back and try some different colors. So once I get done with the ones that are all green and everything and have tons of bushes and stuff like that, I think I'm going to try a few paintings where I avoid that color and try and focus on different ones. And if they do have green, it's going to be a little bit more minimalistic or just different tones of green that I didn't do in these paintings, mainly because I don't want everything to look exactly the same. I mean, I want everything to have a style to it so that it looks like it's something that I've done, but I also don't want everything to be just copies of the same thing because I'll get bored of it and then I will stop painting. So again, the next painting will have a lot of green and stuff when I do have time to finally edit it, but the following paintings that I'm going to currently try to work on, I'm going to do my best to avoid those colors. Anyways, for the fire, I knew I wanted it to be a little bit translucent so that you could see the hand underneath it. I didn't really get that at the very end, but I tried for it. So basically what I did was I took some of my Liquin, which is a oil paint medium, and I painted over the portion of the painting where I knew I wanted the flames to go. I just did a very thin layer and then I painted over this. And then I did the same Liquin technique with doing the wings, except I used different colors, of course. So I kind of roughly penciled in where I wanted the wings to be placed, and then I liquined over it and started applying the paint to it. Okay guys, so my painting is pretty much done, and I figured before we end the video I could varnish it for you. It's all dry at this point, and I'm just going to go over it with a nice thin layer of varnish. So all I'm doing is adding a tiny bit of varnish to the middle of the painting. I'll put this off to the side. And then I'm going to use one of my brushes to move around the varnish and cover the rest of the painting. Doing this just kind of helps bring out the natural colors of everything. It makes it a bit more vibrant and just makes everything kind of more even, because sometimes paint can dry a little glossy in one spot and not so glossy in the other, and it'll make it look a little weird. So yeah, I'm just going over the whole painting nice and evenly, and then we'll have to set this aside to dry. I do recommend, if you're going to be varnishing your paintings, to not use a paintbrush that is for painting. It's strictly for varnish, or to get some throwaway brushes like the little sponge brushes and use those. Okay guys, and that is the time lapse of how I made Little Dragon. I had a lot of fun with this painting. I'm so glad I can finally start oil painting again. Basically what I'm doing to make myself not put it off to the side again is to designate every other week a Friday to paint. So every other Friday I basically paint all day. That way I can just mellow out before the weekend and I don't have to worry about work related stuff. And I'm just kind of trying to keep my oil painting to be something kind of fun and nothing that I have to have out weekly, even monthly. It's just something to make myself happy and possibly share a little bit more art with you guys. Anyways, I don't know if I'm going to put this up for sale just yet. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with it because I do want to make prints, so I got to take professional photos and everything like that. But if it does go up for sale and if I do make prints of it, I will let you guys know. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!